A year and a half can be a very long time when talking about the world of toys, especially if that toy is G.I. Joe. Hello fellow dorks and dorkettes, and welcome to Nostalgia Syndrome. My name is Rob. You know, I can remember it just like yesterday. I must have had the day off work because I was at my kids' school getting ready to pick them up after a long day of learning at elementary school. Well, when I was sitting in the car line, which can take a while, I got an email from a dude named Cornelius McGillicuddy, and he had a very interesting proposition for me. See, I had just done a video talking about what my personal wish list would be for future G.I. Joe classified releases. Well, he had been compiling lists of everyone else's wish lists that he could find online. And yeah, he had a lot of work to do, but he wanted to get with me to see if I would be interested in doing some episodes about that huge compiled list that he was creating. To be honest, I thought it was a great idea, and I was super curious to see what the top cream of the crop figures were that people wanted to see. So, after Cornelius got me all the info that he worked super hard on, I went to work and made two videos. One is the top 15 G.I. Joe classified figures that people wanted to see, and the other was the top 15 Cobra classified figures that people wanted. So recently I've been kicking around the idea of doing an update to those lists because it's been about a year and a half and Hasbro has been releasing figures non-stop in that time period. So yeah, I've thought about it, you know, it's on the back burner, but it wasn't until today where I really thought I should do this. Because today at the San Diego Comic-Con, Hasbro revealed that there are a lot of awesome figures coming our way. And this is on top of all the releases we've already had and all the figures that are up for pre-order right now. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go over the top 15 from each G.I. Joe and Cobra and talk about if they have been released, up for pre-orders, or just forgotten. So, with that being said, let's get to number 15 on the G.I. Joe side. So, number 15 on the G.I. Joe side is Torpedo. And Torpedo is up for pre-order right this minute. I have to say, I jumped on this pre-order as quick as I could because this figure looks pretty sweet and pretty spot on to the original release, which, yeah, I'm a huge fan of. Number 14 is Wild Bill, who is one of my personal favorite G.I. Joe figures of all time, mostly because the Dragonfly was one of the biggest and best vehicles I ever got for Christmas. Now, as luck would have it, if you want to look at it that way, Wild Bill is being released. He is part of a HasLab release that just recently wrapped up its funding, and yeah, they got enough backers that you'll get the Dragonfly, Wild Bill, and a couple of other characters. Unfortunately, I don't ever see myself being able to get Wild Bill unless they sell him as a separate carded figure, but I highly doubt they will do that. So, as awesome as it is, I'm equally as bummed. Number 13 is Quick Kick. Now, Quick Kick was a very popular character in the toys and in the cartoon, so it's kind of a bummer to see that Hasbro has not made any news of a release for him. I mean, I would think it would be a very simple character to release because, I mean, he's just a shirtless guy with black pants, a couple shuriken, a katana. That's all you need. I mean, the dude doesn't even wear shoes. How easy would that be to make? Anyway, there's no news of Quick Kick, and yeah, that kind of sucks. Number 12 is Shockwave. Again, one of my favorite characters, and apparently a lot of yours as well. Now, just today, Hasbro released at their presentation that Shockwave is indeed coming, and they had an artist rendition of the figure that looks pretty sweet. I would have liked it to be a little bit more of the blue tones with yellow highlights of the original, but it's kind of hard to tell in these photos that came out of the presentation just what colors he will be. But it looks to be a little bit of a darker palette, which kind of fits the character still. And he comes with an awesome riot shield and 2 MAC-10s, and that awesome knife that the original came with. Number 11 on the list is Bazooka. And yes, Bazooka has been released. Kinda. I'm actually expecting mine in the mail tomorrow, and I know a lot of people have gotten their hands on him. This is, again, a great callback to the original figure. You can't fault anything in this design because it perfectly matches up with the original. What's super cool is his bazooka, which has missiles that can be loaded into it, and the bazookas have really neat decorations on them, which kind of fits the lovable lughead that he is. Number 10 on the list is CoverGirl, pilot of the Wolverine and all-around beautiful badass. Yes, this figure has been released and I did an episode reviewing it. It's a really great figure, they did a good job with it. It comes with some really neat little accessories like her tablet, which has the Wolverine on it. So I really appreciated that callback to the original vehicle. I doubt we'll ever see it one day, but you never know. They are starting to release some vehicles in the HasLab, and they made an announcement today that they're going to do a general release of the Vamp. So that's pretty awesome. So who knows? Maybe we'll see a Wolverine one day to go with this CoverGirl. Number 9 is Alpine, Bazooka's best friend and a great all-around figure that a lot of you out there appreciate as much as I do. Unfortunately, again, it's a character that Hasbro has not made a peep over. Yeah, I don't see why not. Like I said, a lot of people like him, and he was a big driving part of the cartoon alongside Quick Kick and Bazooka. So a lot of people have fond, nostalgic memories of him in many different forms, either it be plastic or solenoid. So maybe one day we will see him, because who doesn't want a classified mountaineer to help out with all their missions? Number 8 is the Ninja Jinx. Now, they made an announcement today that Jinx is coming. They didn't have any artist renderings, but it was one of those named releases where I guess someone has it on a notebook somewhere of the future releases and they're dangling it in front of us until they can provide artwork. I hope she looks pretty much like the original. You don't really need much more. Give her a red ninja suit with an alternative head to swap out that has the awesome, like, spiky short hair that she had in the G.I. Joe movie. Get her in your collection so your Falcon can actually have someone that likes him. Number 7 is one that I am super excited for. It is Mutt and Junkyard. And today, at the Comic-Con, they showed that they have a working prototype of the character, and it looks awesome. And Junkyard even comes with a swappable head with different growling or peaceful expressions. Gotta love that. What's also really cool is the Junkyard has a flak jacket just like dogs in war nowadays have. So it's pretty cool that they updated the design, yet kept it very true to the original. I mean, Mutt looks pretty much spot on to his original release. I'm not really sure if we'll get the original MAC-10 or, you know, that like face mask muzzle thing that he came with, but who cares at this point because he looks great. Number 6 is General Hawk. And again, today at the Comic-Con, they showed off some artist renderings of what the upcoming figure is going to look like. And again, it's great. It is the leather coat wearing, helmet with the goggles on it version, and awesome. I'll be very excited to get him in my collection because I was a super big fan of the original figure. So seeing this dude looking just the way he did back then, just, yeah, fills my heart and gets me really excited to get more of these classified figures into my collection, like now. Number 5 is Snow Job, and he is up for pre-order right this minute through Hasbro Pulse. They're keeping him back as an exclusive, and he's a little bit more money because he comes with a ton of awesome gear. Now, the one thing I do have to kind of call Hasbro out on is, back in the day, if you were lucky enough to get a figure with extra accessories, they didn't charge you extra for it. He was, or she was, just as much as everyone else in the line. So it's kind of crappy that they are holding back these figures, giving them some extra accessories, which is always appreciated, but making it a premium price tag. I couldn't help myself. Snow Job, I have very deep nostalgia for, so I had to pre-order it, and yeah, I'm pretty excited to finally get him. And I think he will be shipping out in November. It's either October or November. So that time is going to go by pretty quickly. And yeah, we're going to have an awesome Arctic soldier to hang out with our classified figures. Number 4, who I am surprised is not higher up on this list because he is just so badass. And that is Tunnel Rat. Yes, the character that was originally based on Larry Hama himself. Tunnel Rat, awesome figure when he originally came out. He came with a gun that's super big, which is always cool. Unfortunately, it doesn't fit the whole Tunnel Rat aesthetic. But to me, the biggest kick I had was his backpack with 2 removable flashlights. And the new release, which is up for pre-order right now, also includes those flashlights. So it's a win-win. I cannot wait for this dude to come out because, like I said, he was one of my favorite characters, and again, surprised he's not higher up on this list. But looking at what's coming up, you can see why he wasn't. Number 3 on the list is one of the original green shirts of the G.I. Joe team, one of the original 1982 releases, and that is Rock and Roll. And yes, Rock and Roll has been released. I actually have him in my grasp at this moment, and I would show him right now, but with the green screen, I have a feeling he'll just turn invisible and I'm holding up an empty box, if you know what I mean. Anyway, Rock and Roll. Great classic character. They updated him just a smidge by giving him some awesome, heavy metal inspired rock and roll tattoos. Other than that, it's tried and true rock and roll, and I can't wait to put him on the Ram cycle because one of my earliest memories of the G.I. Joe comic was him, Snake Eyes, and Scarlet riding Rams through the desert, and I can't wait to recreate that scene now. Number 2, the resident sniper of G.I. Joe, Lowlight. And yes, again, this is a character that is up for pre-ordering right now. And they did a great job with him. I mean, everything from his large, oversized gun case to his removable goggles and hat. And I hate to say it, but I'm really glad they went with the blonde, true version of Lowlight, because they've pulled some fast ones in the 80s and 90s by giving him black hair, which still bugs me to this very day. So I'm very happy we are getting a blonde, awesome Lowlight to add to our team. Number 1 on the list. This was the most popular request for the G.I. Joe Classified line from a year and a half ago, and this is Shipwreck. And yes, Shipwreck has been released. He is out in the wild. I mean, he's a wild dude if you think about it. Rolling up in the port, partying all over the world, and still finding time to save the world from Cobra. Anyway, the classified Shipwreck is just, again, a spot-on recreation of the original figure. And why would you want to mess up something as perfect as that design? Everything from his awesome flintlock pistol to Polly perched on his shoulder. I am so excited to have this, and I can't wait to rip it open and do a review of it. So look forward to that in the near future. Okay, Now we are going to look at the top 15 requested Cobra G.I. Joe classified figures from a year and a half ago, and we'll talk about their status and where they are nowadays. So, number 15 was just a blanket Dreadnoks, because so many people had requested these little off-the-wall, you know, Dreadnok figures that came with like the big box set and things like that, that Cornelius, when he compiled this list, just kind of jammed them all together and put them in Dreadnoks. Now, with that being said, with 15, none of these figures have been mentioned and none of them are coming out. And I'm not talking about the big names of the Dreadnoks. No, these are people like Cletus and Joe Bob and yeah, stuff like that. So we're not missing out on anything that Hasbro hasn't released any of them. So we will now go to number 14 on the list, which is Naugahyde, another member of the Dreadnoks, and a really awesome one that came with a boar. Now, this is a character that, of course, Hasbro has not mentioned anything about, but would be pretty cool because he came with some really neat gear, you know, a removable hat, a bow and arrow, a sniper rifle, and his awesome boar. Include an animal with any G.I. Joe figure, and I'm going to be a fan of it. So, yeah, I would be really excited to see if there's any potential for this character to be brought to the classified line anytime in the future. Now, number 13 is the Dreadnok Pirate, Zanzibar. So before we go any further, no, there's no news about this character coming out, but it would be really cool if they did. We are starting to see a lot of the classified figures being released with small vehicles or armaments and accessories. So his little air skiff would fit perfectly in that theme, and if he came with rooted hair, that would be the chef's kiss. That was one of the things I loved about the original, and the weapons he came with that attached to his skiff, like a big mallet and a spear, which fit any adventure, honestly. I mean, I think Zanzibar would be a good fit for the classified line, so who knows what the future holds for this character. Number 12, a very popular Cobra soldier, the Night Viper. Again, no news. There's not been a single whiff in the air of Hasbro even acknowledging the existence of this character, but they should. I mean, great color scheme, had an awesome infrared thing that attached to his visor, like kind of a neat sawed-off weapon that would attach to his leg. I mean, it was a great character that I was actually fortunate enough to have when I was a kid, and I loved him. So, hopefully the Night Viper does get released one day. Number 11, again, is a really weird, off-the-wall character to have on this list, especially when you're talking about the most popular Cobra figures that people wanted to see. And this is Zanya, which is Zartan's daughter. So it goes without saying that she is part of the Dreadnoks as well. But there are so many other interesting and awesome characters for Cobra that could be released that, yeah, it's surprising that people honed in on Zanya and wanted her released. Now granted, it's a cool character, and we got Zorana, so that's close, and that's a really awesome figure, so yeah. Anyway, let's move on to number 10, which was a tie. They are Dreadnok Thrasher, who is the pilot of the Thunder Machine, and there's no news of that being released, although they are releasing a 3 3/4 Thunder Machine that transforms into Soundwave. But it doesn't come with Thrasher, it just comes with Zorana and Zartan. Really odd. That would have been a great time to throw in a new Thrasher with his lacrosse stick with spiky ball. Now the other character that tied at number 10 is released and is out there in the wild now, although very, very hard to come by, and that is Dr. Mindbender. Now Hasbro, yeah, really went all out for Dr. Mindbender, which is surprising because, honestly, as much as I like him and loved him as a kid, he's kind of laughable. I mean, it's just a bald dude with no shirt and a cape, suspenders, dressed in purple with a, like, dentist tool. I'm not even 100% sure what it is. But they recreated his accessories and added a bunch of other awesome ones, like a skull and different vials and things like that, to really add to the, like, super mad scientist vibe of the character. So, like I said, he's out there. I missed the pre-orders of it, and hopefully they add some orders down the road, because I really want one, and just super bummed that I wasn't able to get one. Now, number 9 is another tie, and they're both Dreadnought characters. And unfortunately, either of them are not being released anytime soon, although they should. The first one is Monkey Wrench, the 4th member of the key Dreadnought characters. I mean, he had the blue jeans and everything to fit with their style. I didn't have any of the original Dreadnoughts growing up, and Monkey Wrench was my one and only that I did get. So, yeah, I have some big nostalgia for him, and I think he's a great character. Now, the one that he tied with would make perfect sense, because it is Xander, twin brother to Zorana, which they did release, and brother to Zartan. So, we had the sister. Why don't you go ahead and release the brother as well? I mean, it just makes perfect sense. And then you have the older brother, his 2 younger twin siblings, all running around, dreadnoughting it up everywhere, and helping Cobra take over the world. Now, with number 8, we are starting to hit that sweet spot, get into that stride of characters that people wished for that are actually out there or on their way. Now, number 8 is the Cobra Eels, which at this moment is up for pre-order at places like Big Bad Toy Store and Amazon, and they did a great job with this figure. I mean, again, a spot-on great recreation of the original figure, and he was just so simplistic and awesome, and a mirrored Cobra version of Torpedo that you can't really mess up a good thing, because perfection. And with number 7, this spin cycle kicks in. My apologies. But number 7 is Scrap Iron. And luckily, he has been released, and I have one in my possession, although it's being put away until Christmas, because it kind of has a higher price point, and he was originally slated for a later fall, early winter release, but came out a lot earlier, to my surprise. Awesome surprise, but one that I kind of was like, yeah, this is a little bit more expensive, and it came sooner than planned, so why don't you put this to the side for Christmas? So, it's a bummer, I gotta wait, but this Scrap Iron is awesome. Again, they kept everything true to the original, and his little missile launcher, they went above and beyond to make it now a treaded drone that he can control, and he comes with a lot of really neat missile blast effects, and just, yeah, that's what made it a higher price point, because he comes essentially with a little tiny vehicle and really great, like I said, effect pieces that you can pretty much add to any of your classified figures if you wanted. I mean, you could slap him on Bazooka that he is firing one of his rockets. I mean, yeah, I'll be really excited to mix and match those accessories and see what kind of awesome adventures I can come up with after Christmas. Number 6 is another Dreadnought, and he is Road Pig, a great classic character that had a lot of Mad Max appeal with his, like, football padding with spikes, his cinder block on a stick, his crossbow, wrist launcher, all great things. But unfortunately, those great things weren't enough for Hasbro to have a release for him planned. Hopefully one day down the line, but you never know. I mean, make him a bigger, beefier character like we've seen out of Gung Ho, Sergeant Slaughter, Bazooka. Yeah, he would fit right in, have the same body styling. Shouldn't be that hard to mix and match and make this pretty simple yet awesome character. Number 5 is the Emperor of Cobra, Serpentor. Serpentor has been released with his air chariot, and again, like Dr. Mindbender, super hard to come by. I missed out on this pre-release. I missed out on this pre-order, and I'm still kicking myself in the ass for not acting sooner. But who would have known a figure with a much higher price point, because it comes with a vehicle, would sell out so quickly? And again, I hope one day they make an announcement that they will release him either without the air chariot or with the chariot and just put him back out on the market, because I really need one. I love Serpentor. I gotta get him in my collection to whip my Cobra Commander into shape. Number 4 is a very recent pre-order that has gone out, and it is the Snow Serpent. And they went above and beyond with the new release in the classified line. I mean, everything from a fur cape with a wolf's head, awesome accessories. I mean, this Snow Serpent has it all. They've upgraded some of the original accessories he came with and added some that you could only have dreamt of, like the awesome wolf head. I don't know if I will display mine, because I did get the pre-order, with that wolf head, or maybe pass it on to another character for cool diorama scenes, but awesome addition. I mean, just whoever thought of that, thank you. Now, number 3, 2, and 1, yeah, you'll see the theme here, and like I did in the original video, I just talked about them all together. So I'm going to do that again this time, because you'll see why. They are Torch, Buzzer, and Ripper, the Dreadnoks, the original core trio that hung out with Zartan, that drank grape soda and had chocolate mini donuts. Now for Torch, today at the San Diego Comic-Con, they had a named teaser that he is coming sooner or later. But for Buzzer and Ripper, they had awesome artist renditions of the upcoming figures, and they look great. Again, original designs from the original figures with their accessories just kind of modernized. But even for someone like Ripper, I mean, he still comes with his like chained axe head on a, mace, and even added some extra little archaic Mad Max-ish weapons. I mean, they are doing the Dreadnoks right, and they will be so awesome alongside the other releases of the Dreadnoks, Zartan and Zarana, and it'll be really cool to get a big fleshed out group and maybe order some of those 1/12 scale motorcycles out there, because a lot of them would fit the Dreadnoks perfectly. I will be right there to pre-order them, because big fan, never had the originals, but I'm definitely going to have these. Okay folks, we just took a look back at a year and a half ago at a compiled list by Cornelius McGillicuddy of the top G.I. Joe and top Cobra wishlist characters for the G.I. Joe classified line. Surprisingly, a lot of them are either released, up for pre-order, or in the planning stages and probably going to be released any day soon, because Hasbro has a nasty habit of, hey, here's an artist rendition, we don't know when, and then like a day later, up for pre-order, get it now before it's gone. And that's why I miss out on a lot of stuff, because I don't have my finger on the pulse, and when I'm at work, I don't have time just to hop online and start ordering stuff. So I blame adulting to why I missed out on a few of these key characters that I hope Hasbro kind of throws back out into the water eventually, because, yeah, I really want them. I don't want to be left out, and I don't want to pay hundreds of dollars on eBay for them, because, yeah, they were made to be rare, and, yeah, it just has this elitist stink to it. I don't like it. But anyway, with that being said, it's really cool to look back at this list and see how far the G.I. Joe classified line has come. honestly, when that first Snake Eyes figure was released, and Duke and Scarlet and Roadblock after that, I had no idea that we would be this deep in the classified game and have some really awesome and interesting characters being released. Like a character that's not on this list at all, but was revealed at the Comic-Con today, and the pre-order went up because it's a Pulse exclusive, Tripwire. Tripwire, a awesome character, and they did a great job with the new version of him. Anyway, you never know what Hasbro's going to do, and it makes it very exciting. Very expensive, but very exciting. I'm going to leave it there. And thank you so much for tuning in to this last week of G.I. Joe July here at the channel. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you got something to say, please leave a comment. I love reading them, and I love getting back to everyone. And if you're new around here and you enjoyed this or any of the episodes that YouTube is recommending down here, please hit subscribe. And if you hit that little bell icon, you will be notified whenever there's a new episode. So anyway, thanks Cornelius for all your hard work a year and a half ago. I hope you're doing good. Thanks for tuning in. Keep being rad and stay dorky.